You're listening to The Brown Couch Show, where addiction, recovery, real life, and all the bullshit in between collides. If you're somewhere between rock bottom and figuring it the fuck out, or loving someone who is, take a breath and sit with me. Let's talk about the shit nobody wants to talk about. I'm Brandon Andrew, but most people just call me B. I've pissed away time, walked through addiction, and battled demons, but was grateful enough to have come out on the other side with a story worth sharing. Now I'm sitting here on this ugly ass brown couch just trying to make sense of it all. For me, and maybe for you too. Reminding myself that even the most fucked up moments can make for one damn good story. Sit back, relax, and enjoy The Brown Couch Show.
What is up, you beautifully broken, trying your best motherfuckers? Before we dive into the chaos of this past month, I want to say something real quick for everybody who's been rocking with the Brown Couch Show. You probably noticed that there's a little difference to this episode. There's no video, and that is going to be the norm for a little while. Look, real talk, I've been getting a lot of feedback saying that y'all would prefer to listen to my podcast than view it anyways. You like to throw it on either during your commute or while you're cleaning, whatever it may be, and I feel that. And honestly, I just don't have the damn time right now to be shooting video, editing video every single week for you guys. It's just, and for the amount of views I get, it's a lot of work. And I have a feeling that if I continue to do this at this output and this capacity, that I'm just going to burn myself out. And the Brown Couch Show will just fizzle out. So I'm going to try to make this easy as possible on my end. So hopefully I can just keep this going as long as the wheels are still attached. Anyways, now that we kind of got that out of the way, let's really dive into this episode. It has been one hell of a month, man. Some of y'all already know, but for those of you that don't, your boy got laid off. Yeah. Laid off from my job as a peer supporter up here in Columbus, Ohio, just serving the community every day is what we do. We go out and we connect people to resources that they normally wouldn't have otherwise. And it has been a great growing opportunity for me this past year or so. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this shit, dude. It played a toll on me. It played a tax on my emotions, on my energy. I'd been over there for just a year, and that job, it was it for me. I was so passionate about this shit, and I was good at it. For once in my life, I was good at the job I did, and it paid off. Become comfortable and proud of what I was doing for a living. Like, really fucking proud of myself. And then, poof, it's gone just like that. Like, are you fucking kidding me? It just didn't make sense to me at all. And here's where it kind of gets a little real for me, and maybe for you too. This was the first major setback I had honestly experienced since getting sober. Yeah, I've had those little bouts of anxiety and not being able to communicate with people and just normal things that you go through when you kind of enter that new sober world. But this was different. I had worked so fucking hard to get where I was. I did all the classes. I did all the hours, all the in-person trainings. I did all this on my own. Zero help. I literally navigated the entire thing by myself. So when I got to where I was, hell yeah, I was fucking proud, dude, because I've never worked that hard for something in my entire life. That's what you guys have to realize. Every single thing that I've picked up, I have gotten good at it or semi-good at it in my life, and I just throw it to the curb. I get bored with it, and that's it. That's all you'll ever hear from it out of my mouth again. But this was different. I had never really had to buckle down and do real people things, if that makes sense. And, you know, so many different parts of me wanted to blame other things. I wanted to point my finger at my job. I wanted to point it at the people I worked with. I wanted to point it at the government, which I don't want to get into politics, but that was the reason that we got laid off in the first place, was cuts to Medicaid. So we'll just leave that at that. But I wanted to point these fingers for God knows why. I couldn't just come to terms with this is a part of life. Things happen and you just have to roll with the punches. And 5 years ago, I would have spiraled the fuck out of control. And I hope you heard the emphasis on that fuck. Because I would have crawled into a bottle and I would have continued to point fingers. I would have continued to blame the world. I would have disappeared for weeks on end, consumed by a fucking bottle. But I didn't. Instead, I sat with this shit. I let myself feel it. I let myself be mad, be scared, be fucking confused as I've ever been. I would have been pointing those fingers. I really would have. And hopefully, I think about it, I wouldn't even have had a position to lose in the first place. If that really kind of clears things up to where I was 5 years ago. So yeah, when I got the news, I was in disbelief. Like, nah, not me, not this job, not after everything. I didn't want to believe something I worked my ass off for could be ripped away that fast. But what I didn't do is sit in that space for too long. I literally got myself up, pulled out the notebook, and I made a game plan. I started applying to jobs immediately. I tapped back into all the shit that I learned in recovery, my coping skills, my breathing work, my mindset, literally all of it. And let me keep it real with you. One of those interviews I landed, I had a panic attack mid-call. Like in real time, my heart was racing, sweating, fumbling over words. It did not go anything like I had rehearsed in my head. Truthfully, I don't know where that came from. Because as of just a couple weeks ago, I was so confident, I was so determined that I could talk to anybody about anything. And it really just goes to show that anxiety and these things do not pick and choose, and they do not discriminate. It can happen to anyone, anytime, any place. But what's different about this phone call is I didn't beat myself up over this shit. I kept it pushing. I didn't hold it over my head. I didn't think about it and ponder about what I could have said or did differently for the next week. I just kept it pushing. Now, here's where it really gets fucking weird. We're in the process of winding things down. I show up to the office and my old boss is like, hey, there's a mandatory meeting, this morning. I really think you should be on there. I think they were going to talk about some opportunities and things like that going forward. And in my head, I'm like, what? Like, I thought we were just getting fired. Or not fired, but, laid off. I literally was so genuinely confused with what these opportunities could be. And the thing is, I trained my brain to not immediately go to worst case scenario anymore. Something in my gut told me this was gonna work out. And spoiler alert, my gut was right for fucking once. They literally sat us down and explained that the funding issue was kind of being worked out and that we were basically going to be keeping our jobs. Not only that, we're building a newer, different model. We're getting new payers. And during this downtime this summer, we're going to pay for you guys to go get further education to enhance your careers. And you're going to come back to a job. Like, what the actual fuck? Now, I've heard of turnarounds, but this shit right here is a turnaround. When I tell you I have never been so relieved in my entire life, because through those downtime and the living in the unknown, things were eating me alive. How am I going to pay for my medicines? How am I going to have health insurance that quickly in transitioning jobs? How am I going to continue paying all these bills that I've literally not missed a heartbeat of a payment since I've been sober? How am I going to keep up with all this shit that I've established in my life? And then this news comes out and literally rocks my fucking world. I've never been so relieved to hear certain words come out of certain people's mouth. Like I could not believe the turnaround. But let me hit you with the realest part of the story. After I kind of found out that I was keeping my job, just prior to this meeting, I had another interview with another company, and I literally got on that interview and I told them, hey, I'm sorry for wasting your time. I'm sort of living in the unknown. I don't know whether or not I need to be in this job search or not. But I told the dude, I was like, I just wanted to hop on here to show face. I don't want to leave a stale taste in your mouth, just in case things still do not work out here at the current job I'm at. And this dude was so genuinely impressed with the fact that all this was going on. I get told that I'm not getting fired, and I still showed up to like let him know that he doesn't have to sit there for 30 minutes waiting for some dude to get on an interview. And I think that too is another testament of how far I've come in 5 years. I would have not given a single shit. I would have just bailed. I would have literally deleted the contact information, deleted the date, deleted the time. But I'm different now. And that's what I try to explain to people. I am a man that has values. I have respect, not only for myself, but for the people that I interact with every single day. And I continue to show up, even when I don't have to. That is when you know you are at a solid place in your recovery journey. When you continually show up knowing that you don't have to. That's growth. That's maturity, and that is literally sobriety in motion. So what exactly is the lesson here? The lesson is that recovery doesn't mean life stops throwing punches. It means you learn how to roll with them. You're still going to get hit. You're still going to stumble. But how you respond, that is everything. You don't fall apart. You don't run. You don't reach for the bottle or the pipe or whatever it may be. You simply breathe, adapt, and move forward. And if you're out there in the thick of that shit right now, in that unknown, in the panic, in the what the fuck am I even doing in my life moment, just know that comeback always starts with one step. Literally one step. The first deep breath. That first honest thought. That first choice not to self-destruct. I'm still here, still on the brown couch, still figuring shit out just like you. But today I'm proud of how I handled the storm that was just thrown at me. And I want you guys to be proud of the storms that you undergo as well. That is literally all I have this week for the Brown Couch Show. I'm so excited to be back in the swing of things. I'm really hoping that this new audio layout of the podcast kind of works a little better into my favor. But in the end, I think it's going to be a good thing, not only for me, but for my listeners. If there's anything I said during this podcast that resonated with you or even had you hitting your steering wheel on the way to work, I'd really appreciate it if you dropped a like, comment, or even a subscribe. It really does go a long way at giving me the motivation to continue doing this for y'all. Until then, I will see you guys again next week on the Brown Couch Show.